Welcome to another episode of Crochet Business Chat. Happy to have you all here. I'm answering your questions today. Do you have questions about crochet business? So, let's see. We are back at it after having an extended time off. I took some time off before the H&H conference, and then I got sick, and I'm just now starting to feel like my voice is back to normal. It's not quite there, but almost there. So I decided I would come on and answer your questions today. So what I did was I went and grabbed some questions from my Facebook group. If you're not a part of the group, you can join us. I believe there's a link in the description below. If not, I'll add one when I'm done here. If you're new here, my name is Pam Grice, Crochetpreneur. I am a business strategist for crochet business owners. I'm on a mission to help 100,000 makers build financial freedom through crochet. And I'd love for you to do all the YouTubey things. That means like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, ask questions in the chat, whatever you need to do. Now, I'm going to ask for your grace as I get back into being on YouTube and recording podcasts and all of the things. It's been a long time since I've been on video. And yeah, I may run out of breath because, again, still recovering from illness, but we'll get there. Let's see. I do see some folks are here with us live, so say hello in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to go through the questions that I found in my Facebook group. So I'm just going to go through them one by one. I actually just copy and pasted them or took the gist of them and added them into this list, but I haven't actually, deeply thought about it because I thought we would do that together. So the first question, should I sell patterns of my finished products? I think it would be good passive income stream, but my husband worries I'll lose sales on physical products. So this is a pretty common question from people who sell physical products, who have designed their own physical products and are at the point where they're making sales, they're doing things, but they understand that they could be creating some sort of passive income by selling their patterns. Ultimately, this question for me comes down to a couple of different things, but the first thing that jumps out the most for me is this sort of, what's the word? Not abundance mindset, but scarcity mindset of if you sell patterns for the physical products that you're selling, you're going to sell fewer physical products and you're going to make less money. Rather than looking at it from the perspective of all the people who would want your physical products that you make, what's the likelihood of all of them finding you and purchasing from you? And how many or how much income could you make passively through pattern sales? Recognizing that when you sell a physical product, there are supplies, there's time, there's your energy and your life force that goes into making that thing. So there's a cost to every physical product you create that goes beyond simply supplies. So your time and your energy are both related costs with every physical product that you sell. And when you sell patterns, you don't have that related cost. And for me, it's totally worth it to sell the pattern, let other people make sales as well. So it's sort of a generative thing where you are giving other people opportunities to sell or simply to have the product that you've designed. And I have not heard from anyone that I've worked with that their income has gone down when they start selling the patterns of their physical products. Sure, other people might sell the thing. Sure, they might even undercut your your pricing, which I think a lot of people are afraid of. I know that I was concerned about that when I first started selling my patterns for the things that I was selling, the physical products I was selling. I was like, people are going to buy the pattern and then come in and sell it for less. And so to combat that, I specifically spoke about this. I'm the original designer of this product. I would brand it with my business name, with a product tag or something like that, so that people could see the increased perceived value of purchasing that physical product from the designer. And so using language around that and like really developing your perceived value and your messaging around your products will help you be able to sell your products at a higher price than someone coming in and purchasing your pattern. Also consider the number of people who will be selling your product from your pattern is exponentially lower than the number of people who will be buying your pattern. So the majority of people who purchase the pattern, A, would never have been a physical product customer in the first place because they're makers. They don't want to buy it from somebody else. And B, they don't want to start a business. They just want the pattern so that they can make it for themselves or as a gift. So you're leveraging an entire new customer base. And if you only sell at craft fairs, now you've got a worldwide audience. And even if you only sell, or even if you sell your physical products on Etsy or a platform like that, if you're not shipping internationally, you now have an international audience. So you could sell thousands and thousands of patterns and make so much more money than you could ever from selling the physical product. So it really is a mindset thing. If you have been a person who sold physical products, transitioned to selling the patterns for those same physical products that you're selling, I'd love to hear your experience in the chat. Go ahead and comment in the chat and let us know, what was that like for you? I'm going to come over. There's a little glitch in your video. I know. I don't know why it's doing that. I've seen it as well, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't have any loose cords or anything like that, so I think it's a technical thing. Okay, so that's the first question. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you feel about that? I really like the idea of making some passive income. When I first started selling patterns, it was so fun to be away on a weekend vacation and my phone cha-chinging, telling me I made money. Every time my phone would cha-ching, I'd be like, $5 for me, $5 for me. And it was just really fun to be knowing that that money was just coming in and I didn't need to do anything. Whereas it got to a point with my business when I made physical product sales, it felt like an energy drain. If it was for a custom item, I was like, oh, I don't feel like making that. Or if it was simply for an item I had on hand that I needed to ship, I was like, now I gotta, figure out how to, or not figure out, but I need to get home. I need to, package the thing up. I need to print out the label. I need to write a nice card. I need to do all the things. I need to get it to the post office. So there's all this sort of work on the back end with physical products that just doesn't happen with digital products. So I say give it a try. You might be pleasantly pleased. Pleasantly pleased. All right. As you can tell, I really am just getting back into this talking thing. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the next question. There's the hugest. It looks like a giant mosquito. It's probably this big with its legs, and it's right over here next to my desk. So if it lands on me, I will scream. So stick around for that. All right. What is that thing? All right. Next question is, I saw this in a different Facebook group, but I wanted to respond to this. So I've been invited to sell my crochet products, at a car show, they expect 350 attendees and it only costs $20. It was so interesting to me to read through the comments on this post with so many people saying, oh, it's only $20, go for it. Or make really cheap items, sell everything you have for under $10 and you should do great. And I'm just thinking, like, does anybody ever think about like profit margins and conversion rates and the possibility of how much money they could actually make at an event like this? So the first things I think about are, is this event aligned? Is the customer base that will be at this event aligned with what I'm selling? People go to a car show to look at cars. They're not going to car show to spend money on handmade products. So the answer to that, first question, no. The audience is car guys and their wives are tagging along. Or maybe their wives love cars too. But so typically it's going to be, it's a mixed group, men and women. They're there to look at cars. Maybe they're there for beer. Maybe they're there for some live music. They're not saying, oh my gosh, there's a car show. Let me go buy some crochet. Let me go see if they have any craft people selling. So no, the audience is not aligned with what I'm selling. That for me is the answer. The only answer I need. No, I'm not going to do that show. But if you say, okay, well, maybe people will buy handmade products. Fine. Okay. So how many people are they expecting? 350 attendees. Now, when we look at the average conversion rate for craft fairs, I honestly don't know what that is, but I'm going to say I've done shows with 5,000 attendees before. And typically at those shows, I would make conservatively 100 to 120 sales. I don't know what what is that, a 4% conversion rate? I'm not going to do the math, but I think it's 4%. Okay, so if we take 4% of, now I'm going to do the math. 4% of 350, that's 14 sales. All right, if I make 14 sales, people said products that cost $10. So times $10. And then I know my profit margin is 50%. So 50% of my product sale is profit. This is not going to be the case on a $10 item though, because it takes time. I would say the profit margin on a $10 item is probably $2, but let's just say 50%, 5. So that's 50% of 140. So divide that by 2. That's $70 minus my booth fee of $20. That leaves me $50 profit for the time that I took to go to the car show. So packing up, driving, gas, the time I spent there. So what is that? 4 to 6 hours. Packing up again, gas home. $50 for a day's worth of work is plus all of the days that went up to that. That's a no for me. The whole thing is a big, huge no. So no, I'm not doing that. It's a huge waste of time. I hope this person who asked this question does not do this show because they're going to end up wasting their time. If you have questions about how to understand your profit margins from doing a craft show, I have a resource that I will link for you that you can plug in some numbers to understand what the actual cost of doing a show is. This is a no. All right. Checking my, okay. Okay, so next question is, this is from my Facebook group again. Can I have 2 niches with my crochet business? In this instance, 2 physical products, earrings and plants and flowers. I do have an entire podcast episode about this topic. But in this instance, I think the most important question to ask in this instance is, who is my ideal customer And is there an overlap between my ideal customer for both of these products? And if the answer is yes, then having these both included in the same shop is totally intuitive and I think works perfectly. So if your ideal customer is a girly girl who loves to accessorize both herself and her home with feminine, beautiful, whatever, something, right? Then yes, she loves to accessorize herself with jewelry, and she loves to accessorize her home with plants and flowers and pretty things. So if you set up your ideal customer around this, where that cohesive overlap is, if you do it as a Venn diagram of who wants earrings, who wants plants and flowers, what's the overlap? That's your ideal customer, and you set up all of your messaging around that. And if you're selling at a craft fair booth, you're setting up your shop around that. You're setting up your brand around that ideal customer. It totally makes sense to have these in the same shop. Now, if you are selling two totally different things, let's say I sell super feminine flowers and plants, and I also sell not safe for work crochet male appendages. You know that some people sell those things, right? I sell those two things in my shop. Your customer base has very little overlap, right? When you look at who's the audience for this and who's the audience for this, how do they overlap? They really don't. And actually, this customer base might be offended by this product line. And this customer base will see this product line and be like, ew, who wants that, right? So in that case, I would not create them in the same shop. I would create two separate shops, two separate brands, two separate messages around those things. And it's the same if you're doing crochet and sewing or crochet and embroidery. If the ideal customer base is the same or has significant overlap, then it's great to have them in the same shop. But if they are disparate, separate, very different, then I would not. So I think that's kind of the litmus test of whether to have the things in the same shop or not. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Next question. Next question is, I just started a TikTok/Instagram, but I'm not getting traction. What is the secret to getting thousands of views that convert to sales? I think the last part of this question is the most important part, converting to sales. A lot of people get thousands of views on social media and they are not making any sales because people don't go to social media to buy things. And that's just the truth. So they might go there to learn about things. They might go there to engage with designers that they like, but they don't go there to buy things. And I think the sooner we come to recognize that followers don't equal sales, that engagement doesn't equal sales, that views don't equal sales, the sooner we can get over that. Social media is not a sales strategy. Social media is a marketing strategy. Your sales are going to come from people who are looking to buy things, and people are looking to buy things through Google searches, through emails, through blog posts, through going to the places where things are being sold, like Etsy. And so chopping this question into two sections: how to convert to sales, focus on SEO in your shop, and drive traffic there. All right. How to get lots of views on social media: be interesting. Don't be just like everybody else. Be engaging, be entertaining. Recognize that your visuals need to be high end. Your visuals need to attract people. So you're not like, this is pretty cluttery, right? My background is pretty cluttery. I wouldn't use this as an Instagram photo because there's too much going on. Right? So you're going to pay attention to what's going on in your background. You're going to pay attention to how am I serving my audience. You're going to pay attention to what does my audience want to see. But at the same time, mostly what we're trying to do is get people on your list. So TikTok and Instagram are an adjunct to actually building a real business. Don't come after me. A real business looks like I have a website, I have a place for people to buy from me, I have reasons for people to buy from me, and I drive traffic there. You can try to use social media to drive traffic. It's not going to be your number one traffic source ever. Your email list and if a website or a blog, your SEO is what's going to drive traffic. How to convert sales is to have products that people want and are looking for. If you're selling things if you're trying to sell things that people have no interest in, you're not going to make sales. It doesn't matter how many eyes you get on your thing. This is a complex question, but I don't want you to look at social media as a means of generating sales, as your number one means of generating sales. It's not what it's for. It's for being social. So go be social, go engage with other people, engage with everyone who comments on your things, but recognize that it's really about building a community. I would show up live. I would do videos on YouTube, all of those things. Let people get to know you, trust you, want to be like you, and then they'll go buy stuff. But you got to get them on a list. I hope that helps. I know that was a lot. All right. That's going to take us to the next question, which is, I've been getting so much interest and traffic at markets and vending events. That's great, but I can't seem to convert these to sales. Okay, what this comes down to is your products are interesting, but your customers either don't need them, they don't understand that they need them, or they don't understand the value for the price. So you need to do some exploring around why is it not converting? Is it that they don't want it? Is it that it's priced too high? Is it that they don't understand how this is going to change their life? And how can you remarket those things so that people can understand how it will change their life and make their life better? So I think you really have to dive into what's your product line, and are you showing up at places where your ideal customer is actually doing shopping? Springtime is not the best time for selling crochet products typically, unless you have a specific niche that still sells well in the springtime. I don't know what you're selling, but it would be interesting to see a photo of your booth and the photo of your product line to see what the mismatch might be. But typically it's because, I walk into booths all the time where I'm like, oh, wow, this is really, really cool, but I don't need it. I don't want it, or I would never spend that much money on that. And so, coming back to what is the customer thinking and how can I address that objection before they even get to it? So how am I creating messaging around my products that are like, the reason you need this, like become the Billy May of infomercial for your product, right? How does it work? What do I need it for? How will my life change? What's the pain point I have now? But when I buy this thing, how is my life going to be different? Am I going to feel cuter every time I leave the house? Am I going to never lose my chapstick again? Whatever it is that you're selling, explaining to them either in words or in pictures or somehow helping them understand how it's going to make their life better and why it's worth the price that you're charging. So this can be done with signage, it can be done with photographs, it can be done with videos, all sorts of things. So think about how you can create that messaging, because just because someone thinks it's cool doesn't mean that they need it, want it, or will spend money on it. So I hope that helps. All right. I have 2 more questions before I lose my voice. So next one, I'm going to take a sip. Does anyone have any tips on how to get seen as a pattern designer? What do you have the most success with in getting people to your shop? Okay, so this is similar to the other one. How to get seen as a pattern designer. I think great photographs, having a network of people who are going to help you market. So whether that's your pattern testers, whether that's a group of other designers who are willing to share your things, what is your marketing strategy? If you're a new designer and you haven't built an audience yet, maybe participating in blog hops or bundle sales where you get in front of other people's audiences could be really helpful, to then build your own list so that when you do come out with something new, you just send it to your list and you make sales. But if you don't have a list yet, you need to get in front of other people's audiences. So how do you do that? So it could be being a guest on a podcast, a guest on a live. It could be, creating a network of friends and other designers who share each other's things. When you post on social media, maybe they share it to their stories to help you gain traffic. Maybe it is collaborating with a yarn company to have them share your stuff with their audience. All of those kinds of things. How do you get people to your shop? Your email list is going to be your number one traffic generator. Pinterest is always a great traffic generator. And then your SEO. So sort of in that order. It's a game of getting in front of eyes. And then having photos that really attract people to make those clicks to come over to your shop. So I would do a search on, if you're listing on Etsy, go look on Etsy for your specific keywords that you're using for your product and see what the customer sees. So I would do this in an incognito window. See what the customer sees and ask the question, how can my images stand out? If everyone's using a white background, maybe use a dark background. If everyone's doing flat lays, you show yours on a live model. Think about how to stand out and be different. If everyone's using neutral colors, you use a brighter color, because you want your image to stand out in that sea of images that people get when they do a search, because that's the first thing people see. And then have your SEO on point. So your first part of your title in your Etsy listing is going to be something that attracts people over to your shop. So it could be easiest crochet hat pattern ever, or something that attracts the client rather than I don't know what people call their. I have one hat called like Blue River Beanie. That's not going to attract anybody to click on my listing, right? So in the front, say what your product is, but also make it a little bit clickbaity of crochet beanie for fun, or super fun crochet beanie. I don't know. Something that will get people to click over. Make it interesting. That's my tips. Okay, and finally, last question that I grabbed for today is, when selling at a market or booth, do you have to only sell items made from original patterns? Meaning, do I have to design all of the patterns for the products I'm selling at markets? I have a whole podcast about this. I probably have multiple podcasts about this. The answer is it depends. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So first, in some countries, designers have copyright protections where they are allowed to limit the use of the products made from their patterns. This is not true in the United States. It is true in the UK, and I don't know about other places. So if a designer from the UK says to be used for personal use only, do not sell the finished product, then that is their legal right, and you don't sell those products. In the United States, crochet designers do not have that legal protection. So if a designer sells a pattern and you create the physical product for that pattern, you can sell that product. Sidebar, if the item is for something that's trademarked already by a different company, no, you cannot. They can't sell you the pattern. If they do, they're breaking the law. And then if you go then sell the physical product, you are breaking the law as well. So that's a little separate. So if it's a United States designer, they don't have a legal right to prevent you from selling the physical product, except I have a podcast here with a lawyer. I'm going to have to go through and link all those below. I don't have that with me right now. His name is Gordon something. I'll look it up. He said that technically, if they state in their listing ahead of time that by purchasing this product, you agree that you won't this pattern, you agree that you won't sell the physical product, and you purchase it, then you've sort of agreed to that contract. And so they could, it would be expensive, but they could come after you for that. Additionally, if someone asked you to not sell the physical product from their item, going back to the very first question from today, typically that comes from a scarcity mindset. They're afraid to have you as their competition, whatever. That's a personal choice. I myself would comply with that, because who wants to make enemies in the business, right? Who wants to, someone has said, hey, I really don't want you to sell the physical product from this thing. And you're like, screw you, I can do whatever I want. And you do it. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I wouldn't do it. I don't suggest other people do it. If someone says they don't want you to do it, I wouldn't do it. I would go find a different pattern. There are enough patterns out there that you can find something similar, or you can find something similar and adjust it to however you want it to look. That's my feeling on that. Like, I don't think there's any reason to go against the wishes of the designer. If they say, like, if you sell the physical product, you need to tell them that the pattern was made by me. Do your best to do that. Again, there's no legal obligation to do that. I ask people when I sell my patterns to, if they're selling it online, to go ahead and link to my Etsy shop, or link to my social media or something, and just say the original designer is so-and-so. But people buying physical products could care less who it was designed by, honestly. So I think it's a moot point. If they're selling at a craft fair, nobody cares who designed it. They don't need to put on the tag who the designer was. I think that's silly. I think it's a silly ask, and I'm not really sure where that need comes from. But that's just me. Okay, so that's my feeling on that. So ultimately, find designs that specifically say you have permission to sell this physical product, or that don't specify either way. If they don't specify either way, then you're free and clear. You can go ahead and sell the physical product. Hope that makes sense. Go look through my list of podcasts for product sellers, and you should find longer podcasts about that. All right. I think that's all I have for you today. So this was a weird podcast just because I'm getting back into it. It's been months since I've been able to come on and chat So I thought I would just kind of wing it and do this. Next week, we'll have an actual topic where we'll deep dive into a specific topic, and I'll let you know soon what that is. But I appreciate you being here, and be sure again to like this video, subscribe to Crochetpreneur for more crochet business tips, and I'll be back again next week to share some more tips. I hope you found this helpful. Talk to you later. Bye.